interpretation, it's really all about just interpreting what we experience and what we see around us. I mean, that's really what I think of when I think of the essence of creativity, you know, because everybody can be creative. We are all like creative, you know, in our own way. I mean, some people choose to express them, you know, express it differently. And yeah, for me, it's more just a way of living. Like it's just part of an everyday kind of life, taking what is around me and either creating something with it or interpreting it. And you know, I mean, I don't know how much I can go into that in detail because it's kind of a complicated thing, and it's a huge topic too. I mean, it's such a broad question, you know? If it's my own project, I mean, usually I have a vision. I just have some sort of vision and I can see something in my head that I just need to create, you know, or I feel the need to express something and it has to come out one way or another, whether it's, you know, in a painting or whether it's through, you know, writing. But what actually happens in my mind, it's weird because it can be such a practical process as well. It can be very like, you know, methodical, you know, like this is step one, this is step two. And if, in school, I mean, that's what we're taught. We're taught, you know, yeah, the creativity exists and your inspiration is there, but there's these steps you need to follow in order to be, you know, successful every single time, because it can't just be about chance if you create something or not. So it's weird when I think about my process now. It doesn't seem as random. It seems really structured. You know, so now it's all about like the brief and answering the questions and, you know, who are we talking to? You know, who is the target audience and what's the objective? I mean, so those are actually the things that go through my mind now when I'm going to create something. And it's just about exploration and trial and error when it comes to, you know, down to the actual, you know, execution of something. I mean, is that kind of an answer? I've turned this passion of mine and I've turned this way I do things into a living, you know, so methodology versus game. I don't know, I think if you want to, yeah, I think if you want to, well, for me, if I want to make a living at this and do this every day and have it be my, you know, my source of income and whatnot, then it has to be kind of about the methodology because, you know, things are on a schedule. You know, you have to have stuff done by a certain time. And as lovely as it would be to sit down and, you know, just dream all day about when things, you know, the one magical idea that's going to kind of fly through my mind, you know, sometimes that does happen and it's wonderful, right? It's just like, it's just perfect from the get-go, but a lot of the time it's like, you know, you have to start from step one and just go through the process and, you know, deal with others, you know, have to deal with the client or not deal, that's horrible, I shouldn't say that. But find a solution that best suits what the person is trying to do, you know? Methodology. It's so ingrained. I think it's so ingrained in me now. I think our program did a pretty good job of doing that. The IDEA program is good for that. I think that's one of the reasons why that program is so special versus other programs in different institutions that are more about just the sheer creativity and like not really the practical application as much, you know. So the schooling that I did, I think it taught me really well. And because it's now so natural, it's like, it just goes to show, you know. You mean, can the practicality harm the creativity? Yeah, sometimes. It's tough. It's tough. It is, you know, to like keep going and to try and keep that kind of plug or whatever it is, to keep that connection with the creative part of you all the time, you know, and make sure that it's not severed due to, you know, all of these practical things that you need to think about when you're going through a project, or, you know, yeah, because it can't, you know, sometimes it's not about your vision. I mean, I mean, I guess it depends on, for me, right, you know, working with like a studio or working, you know, with, you know, another group of people, it very much is about the group dynamic, and it's about the studio's vision usually, and so you're all working towards this goal, but it gets filtered, all of your stuff gets filtered, and it's all very practical and, you know, like organized, and working on your own, like on a freelance project where I'm the only one that has to make those decisions, and it's like a one-on-one relationship with the client and me, it feels like there's more room for the creativity. It's not as, the practical stuff doesn't seem to kill it as much. Oh, God, I hope. Oh, that's gonna sound kind of bad if that goes on air. I think the practical side I love, the creative side I love. I love that there's a marriage of the two, you know, because that's who I am as well. I mean, if I was just all creative and no practical, I would probably just be, not just, but I would likely be, you know, painting full-time or working a job that didn't involve, you know, my passion, so that I could paint outside of that time, you know, and not actually, you know, do it for any, like, purpose, but I really like the idea of having like a problem and there being a solution, you know. So it's the analytical side of my mind that really appreciates those details. The passion comes from like the feeling that you get when you realize a project, or when you realize this thing, you know, you've imagined in your mind and you actually create it. Like there's such a special feeling about actually making something that you only envisioned, you know, and I don't know what it is really about that makes it so wonderful, but you know, it's like seeing something come to life, you know, and that's where I get part of my passion from. The other, you know, the other side is, it's really like the world is so beautiful and it's full of so much, you know, like our history, we've got so much behind us and so much ahead of us, and just, I don't know how to explain it really. Just being able to like interpret the world makes me passionate. Just, you know, having the ability to take from the past and you know, like draw inspiration from all of these different places. And, you know, I've traveled the world, and somehow that all helps, and it all just feeds my passion, because it's just about expressing the things that you've experienced. I mean, in a way, that's kind of all we can really do when it comes down to it. Passion. And passion is higher at certain times than it is at other times. Because I feel most passionate when I'm free, when I feel very, very free and unrestricted. So it's, you know, for me it's important to take time outs and to go travel, because that's kind of the time that refuels my passion, because it can be tough to keep that going, you know. It can be easy to kind of have it wane a little bit when you're doing just the daily kind of thing, and you get caught up, you know, you can get very caught up in just kind of the daily life. But it's, you know, it's all in your mind. It's all about just trying to keep positive and be conscious of what you're doing and be conscious of what's happening around you. And the moments where I feel passionless are just the moments where I forget to pay attention.